Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in less than 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. The first question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. I'm Dr. Karen Hills Pruden. I am the founder of Pruden Global Business Solutions Consulting. We specialize in coaching female middle managers seeking senior leadership positions. And we do that through one-on-one coaching, group coaching, career counseling, and mock interviews.
It's a great segment. That's great. Thank you. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
I think the ability to get people together with different experiences and backgrounds for a common goal. A lot of times the differences override any conflict that may come as a result of our differences. So just the ability to get different people with different backgrounds and working towards a common goal.
Oh, that's a great insight. Thank you for sharing that. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. What are your thoughts?
I agree, but I think different individuals are motivated by different things. So you have to find out what motivates each team member and then speak to what that team member is going to get based on how they're motivated. So I do agree, if you try to do a one-size-fits-all type of engagement, that's not going to work. You have to, even though it's a team, you have to approach each team member individually.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. That's awesome. Question number 4, what other piece of advice do you have for leaders of teams?
I think maybe accentuate the positive as opposed to, magnifying mistakes. I have found that if you accentuate the positive, usually they're more prone to repeat that behavior that you praise. As a leader, I find it to be helpful to admit when I'm wrong, because it encourages through lead by example those up under me that it's okay to admit when you're wrong and then be part of the process to make that correction. Being a good listener is always helpful because I know I don't know everything. I'm not everywhere. And the higher up you go, the more dependent you are on those under you. And so you need to listen a lot to make sure that you get full information and allow people the opportunity to communicate to you. And then I think last is I like to encourage those quiet, non-talkative employees to talk and participate because usually those are the most insightful employees. It's not so much as the squeaky wheel that's always talking. It's the one that's sitting back and watching how people work together and different things, or not working together, who's very insightful.
Great pieces of advice. Wow, those are really insightful. Thank you. Question number 5. What other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you like to recognize as having had a positive influence in your life?
I would say Chris Andrews. He's the executive director of Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. He's been somewhat of a mentor for me, and just we think very differently. And so when you are working with someone who thinks differently, it causes you to stretch, your flexibility and how you view things. And then I would also say Keith Fox, who's the director of talent acquisition for Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. He is ex-military, retired military, so he's on his second career, and he does a lot of comparison between the military and the civilian workforce, and he brings over that knowledge, and so it gives us a different perspective on how to look at things in corporate America.
It sounds like great recommendations, so thank you so much for recognizing those people. Final question, tell us about your first job.
My first job was illegally, actually. I was 13 years old, lied about my age to work at Dairy Queen, and came home and told my mom that I had a job, and she said, "You don't have a job, you're 13. And so we agreed that if I kept my grades up, that she wouldn't tell on me and go to Dairy Queen and wreak havoc. And so I was able to keep the job, even though I was not old enough, because in Virginia, you have to be 15 to get a work permit. And so, yeah, so it was at Dairy Queen, and I was 13 years old. Came home and told my mom I had a job.
That is ambitious. Good for you. At 13 years old saying, I will find a way to get a job. That is great. Thank you. Well, Karen, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on all social media. You can look me up by my name, Dr. Karen Hills Pruden. If you Google my name, you'll find me.
Very good. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks so much for joining us and have a great day.